1. The impact of lowering the voting age to 16, lessons from around the world. 2. Lowering the voting age, UK takes the lead, will the US follow? 3. UK lowers voting age to 16, what it means for democracy. 1. The impact of lowering the voting age to 16, lessons from around the world. What are the implications of allowing 16-year-olds to vote? Countries around the globe are already reaping the rewards of this progressive change. The UK government has made the significant decision to lower the voting age to 16 for all upcoming elections, aiming for implementation by the next general election. Back in 1969, the UK was a pioneer, becoming the first major democracy to reduce the voting age from 21 to 18. At that time, the public was uncertain about the potential effects of this shift. Fast forward to today, and the landscape has changed dramatically. Nations like Austria, Argentina, and Brazil, along with regions in Germany, Wales, and Scotland, have already embraced the idea of allowing 16 and 17-year-olds to participate in elections, either fully or partially. Our extensive research into these countries reveals a clear conclusion: lowering the voting age to 16 does not lead to negative consequences. In fact, including younger voters does not alter election results or diminish the representativeness of the electoral process. Studies from Germany and Austria indicate that 16 and 17-year-olds are just as capable of selecting political parties or representatives that align with their beliefs as their slightly older counterparts. However, there are potential benefits for both young voters and democracy as a whole, particularly when young people are respected as voters and provided with comprehensive education on political matters. Here's what we can anticipate when 16 and 17-year-olds cast their votes in the UK general election. Increased participation among young first-time voters. When 16 and 17-year-olds are given the opportunity to vote in the next UK election, we can expect their turnout to be comparable to that of other voters, and even slightly higher than that of other first-time voters aged 18 to 20. In countries like Austria, various Latin American nations, Scotland, Wales, and certain German states that have lowered the voting age to 16, our findings consistently show that younger voters tend to participate at higher rates than those who only gain the right to vote at 18. This trend likely arises because younger individuals, who are often still in full-time education and living at home, tend to be more engaged and informed compared to those aged 18 to 20, who may be navigating significant life transitions such as moving out, starting jobs, or pursuing further education. Minimal impact on election results. Lowering the voting age is unlikely to significantly alter election outcomes. In the UK, 16 and 17-year-olds represent only about 1.5% to 5% of the population in various constituencies. Their influence on vote shares is minimal, and only in an extreme scenario where every single 16 and 17-year-old votes uniformly would there be any substantial impact. Critics who argue that this move is merely a strategy by the Labour Party to secure more votes may be overlooking a crucial point. Young voters have diverse political views and do not uniformly support the same parties. For instance, during Brazil's 2022 presidential election, young voters exhibited voting patterns similar to those of older demographics. Similarly, in Austria, where 16 and 17-year-olds have been voting since 2007, their inclusion did not significantly shift the political landscape. Even in closely contested elections, such as Scotland's 2014 independence referendum, research by Jan Eichhorn from the University of Edinburgh demonstrated that the votes of younger first-time voters were varied and did not sway the overall outcome. Political parties have the opportunity to win over first-time voters by actively engaging with young people and presenting appealing policy proposals, as highlighted by Laura Serra. We may also witness increased media representation of younger voters. For example, in 2014, BBC Scotland enhanced the visibility of 16 and 17-year-olds by assembling a diverse panel of young first-time voters who contributed to discussions on various political topics and participated in the final referendum debate. Moreover, young voters can influence the adults around them. When 16 and 17-year-olds are allowed to vote, they can spark political conversations within their families, potentially shaping the political views of their parents and siblings. In a society with an aging population, fostering engagement with younger voters can lead to enriching discussions about political issues across generations. A more resilient democracy. In the long run, including 16 and 17-year-olds in the electorate could strengthen democracy. Research from Austria and Latin America indicates that young individuals who were granted the right to vote at 16 or 17 expressed greater satisfaction with democratic processes and institutions, such as parliaments and political parties. Lowering the voting age also presents an opportunity to tackle disparities in electoral participation. There are significant differences in voter turnout across various age groups. However, after Scotland lowered the voting age, we found that 16 and 17-year-olds were equally engaged in elections, regardless of their social backgrounds. Educational institutions play a vital role in bridging the gap for young voters who may lack parental or peer support. Comprehensive civic education is essential for fostering long-term democratic engagement. Austria has successfully combined the reduction of the voting age with substantial reforms and investments in civic education. In Scotland, young adults who recall discussing political issues in school are more likely to participate in elections throughout their 20s. Christine Hubner is a lecturer in quantitative social sciences at the University of Sheffield. What are your thoughts on the topics discussed in this article? If you would like to share your opinion in a response of up to 300 words, please consider submitting it via email for potential publication in our letters section. 2. Lowering the voting age, UK takes the lead, will the US follow? Imagine a future where high school sophomores help decide your nation's path. That's the reality unfolding right now in Britain. The UK government just dropped a game-changing proposal, lowering the national voting age from 18 to 16. But here's the twist sparking heated debates worldwide. Could America ever take the same leap? Let me walk you through the seismic shift shaking British politics. Deputy Prime Minister Angela Rayner unveiled what she called foundation-strengthening reforms aimed at modernizing democracy. The headline-grabbing change? Starting with the next general election, due by August 2029, over 1.6 million 16 and 17-year-olds will join the electorate. This revolution comes packaged with other updates, allowing bank cards as voter ID and tightening political donation rules. Now, here's what's fascinating politically. The Labour Party pushed this during their 2024 campaign, which saw the lowest voter turnout since 2001. With Labour holding a strong majority, the reform's passage seems almost certain, especially since the House of Lords rarely blocks manifesto promises. But this isn't entirely new territory. Places like Scotland and Wales already let teens vote in local elections. Globally, the UK joins a small but growing club including Australia, Brazil, and Greece. Contrast this with UNICEF's stat: roughly 90% of countries still set the voting age at 18 plus. Here's where it gets spicy. The debate over maturity is exploding on both sides of the Atlantic. Critics argue 16-year-olds lack the life experience or cognitive development for such responsibility. They point out the irony. In Britain, these teens can join the army with parental consent and work full-time, paying taxes, yet can't buy alcohol, lottery tickets, or even run for office. But here's the counterpunch from advocates. If teens can drive, work, and serve their country, why can't they vote? U.S. expert Alberto Medina from Tufts University's Circle program highlights a powerful historical parallel. It was the draft of 18-year-olds during Vietnam that fueled America's own voting age drop from 21 to 18 in 1971. And this is the part most people miss. Data suggests voting is habit-forming. Studies from Scotland and Austria show teens who start voting early participate more consistently throughout life. In the U.S., Circle found states allowing 16-year-olds to pre-register saw the highest youth turnout in 2024. Yet a UK poll revealed only 18% of eligible teens would definitely vote tomorrow, even as 51% supported the right itself. Now, could the US follow Britain's lead? Spoiler: it's highly unlikely nationally anytime soon. A whopping 75% of Americans oppose lowering the voting age, per a 2019 Hill-Harris poll. Despite repeated Democratic proposals, federal legislation keeps failing. Under the current administration, voting rights expansions face even stiffer headwinds. But don't miss the quiet revolution happening locally. Cities from Newark, New Jersey, to Albany, California, now let 16-year-olds vote in school board or municipal elections, a trend Medina applauds. Young people deserve input on policies affecting their schools and streets. So I'll leave you with this grenade of a question. If we trust teens to operate 2-ton vehicles and serve in the military, isn't denying them a ballot fundamentally hypocritical? Or does the maturity argument legitimately protect electoral integrity? Sound off in the comments. I'm dying to hear where you stand on this democratic dilemma. 3. UK lowers voting age to 16. What it means for democracy. In a groundbreaking move, the United Kingdom has decided to lower the voting age from 18 to 16 for all national elections. This significant electoral reform, championed by Prime Minister Keir Starmer, aims to boost voter participation and enhance trust in the democratic process, which saw its lowest turnout in over 2 decades during the 2024 national elections. Starmer argued that if young people are old enough to work and pay taxes, they should also have the right to influence government decisions. This change aligns the UK with several other European countries, including Germany, Belgium, Austria, and Malta, which have already allowed 16-year-olds to vote in European Parliament elections. However, the decision has sparked a lively debate. Critics, including the Conservative Party and right-wing Reform UK, contend that 16-year-olds may not be mature enough to make informed political choices. They also point out the inconsistency in allowing young people to vote but restricting other rights such as buying alcohol or getting married. Despite these concerns, a recent poll showed that a significant portion of 16 and 17-year-olds are eager to exercise their new voting rights. Yet, many also emphasize the need for better political education to combat misinformation and ensure they can make well-informed decisions. With approximately 1.6 million new eligible voters, this reform could potentially impact future election outcomes. However, past research from countries that have lowered the voting age suggests that the effect on election results might be minimal. In addition to changing the voting age, the UK government plans to introduce stricter regulations on political donations to prevent foreign interference and increase transparency in the political funding process. This landmark reform marks a pivotal moment in UK democracy, opening the door for younger generations to have a more direct say in the country's future. As the debate continues, it remains to be seen how this change will shape the political landscape and the engagement of young voters in the years to come.